Why, hello!
Not yet. Wait till the truck goes by. This is episode 5 of NerdCast with your host,
Ben Dotson.
and Aaron freaking Little. How's it going, guys? Great. That's awesome. Thanks for clicking on the video or podcast.
Why do you get a freaking and I don't?
Oh.
Alright.
You said your own name. You could have said Ben freaking Dotson, but you didn't.
Alright, fine. Let's move on.
Okay. Shut your mouth. So today's topic is drama, but we're gonna be delving into like it's still drama because we talk about all dramas besides the one you talked about.
To be specific, television dramas.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking
Yes. I just wanted to...
Yeah, I got you. Elaborate a little bit.
It's television dramas. It's not dramatic movies or anything. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
We're focusing on television. We did comedies before.
Yep.
But now...
Sitcoms, yeah.
Well, sitcoms, yeah. Now we're delving into some recent trends we've seen with dramas, because there's been some trends that have been...
Getting more popular.
Getting more popular. I won't say that they're new, they're just getting more popular.
So our big example of a trend that is looking to be pretty popular is anthology series.
What is an anthology series,
I'm
Aaron?
glad you asked, Ben. It's basically, should I read it verbatim or should I just tell them what it is?
Kind of tell them what it is.
Okay, the anthology series is basically a show that has different stories within that show. So, for example, American Horror Story, season by season, is a different story.
True Detective,
same thing, different story each season. But then we also got shows like Black Mirror, which is an anthology, but it's episode by episode, different characters, different setting. Maybe not different setting necessarily, but definitely different characters and different story altogether. And they follow that. They don't follow it because they do different stories.
They do.
I'm an idiot.
No, it's fine. Black Mirror is not connected at all. They're
all different.
They're all different. American Horror Story and True Detective, they just follow one story. And what's
cars?
Yeah, that's fine. We're in the same location as we were.
This is true.
So hopefully no motorcycles happen this time.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Anyway, is it a new trend? And you kind of hinted at it.
It's not.
That's not, because it's. We talked about it being a new trend, but it's actually gone back to shows like The Twilight Zone, for instance.
Yes.
Is an anthology show. It's show by show, different stories. And another older show example of that is The Outer Limits, which is kind of like a Twilight Zone, not copy.
Sci-fi.
It's not a copy, but it's like
it's more sci-fi-esque.
Where the Twilight Zone had lighter episodes, The Outer Limits is like darker. Yeah, it's darker. And it deals more with sci-fi.
And there's obviously more examples. Big one from the 90s, Tales from the Crypt. There's also Tales of the Dark Side. All these different shows. They lean towards more genre, like horror and sci-fi stories. That's just how they wrote. And it gave a lot of different writers and stuff a chance to make short little stories in one episode. Yeah. And it's great. And I love... And for me, anthology series is one of those things that can be... It's a new thing, but it can be so surprising. Yeah. Because I'll go to American Horror Story, because I'm a huge fan. I've only seen certain seasons, but that's...
You've seen most of the show.
I've seen most of the show,
so you
though.
know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. And that's just because I haven't gone back. I haven't had the time to go back and watch different seasons.
Tell them what seasons you watched.
I've watched part of season 1. Season 1 freaked me out. That's why I haven't watched.
I liked season 1.
Season 1 is great. It freaks me out because it's dark. It's very dark. Season 2 is amazing. That's Asylum. Haven't seen season 3, which is Coven. I haven't really been interested.
That one didn't really get.
It was still up there. It was still up there.
Ratings?
Yeah, it was still up there. I've seen Freak Show, which is season 4, which was okay. Yeah. Season 5 I haven't seen. That's Hotel. That's the big one with Lady Gaga being a part of it. Yeah. And then the reason why I say it's so surprising is what they did for season 6. Season 6 was a mystery until it premiered.
And don't say what the mystery is, because spoilers.
Well, I mean, it's already premiered.
Whatever.
But, but the theme of the show, the story of the show was not fleshed out at all before the episode premiere. And I remember people were freaking out when this show was premiering because, yes, it was hinted at what the show was going to be, and what it ended up being. Everyone kind of guessed, but that's okay. It was still a surprise. It was something so different from what they've done in the past seasons that it took a look at, like, those talking head documentaries and, like, told a different story, and then brought the supernatural in for the second half. They told two different related stories in one season, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm such a huge fan, and I'm so excited because, actually, by the time this probably releases, either the 7th season of American Horror Story will be released, American Horror Story Cult. That comes out in just about a week from when we are recording it.
See, I don't know enough about the show. I didn't know that they were going to season 7. I know you were hinting at... Never mind. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's why I'm not talking much, because I haven't seen much of American Horror Story. He's seen more of it, so I thought I'd...
Yeah. And Cult is exciting, too. So that's their new one, and they just announced... And that one, they've opened up what the story's going to be, but it's still going to be shocking. And it deals with kind of stuff that we're dealing with today, so that's going to be cool. And what's interesting about anthology series, this is one point we didn't make, is that most of the time the same cast is there throughout the different episodes. I know Twilight Zone, most of the time the same actors kind of appeared all throughout. There was obviously special guest stars and stuff. And not American Horror Story, they have at least 2 people that have been there from the beginning in every single season, no matter if they're in there a little bit or if they're in there a lot.
I think that I wouldn't put that under as a whole. Because,
yes, True Detective.
True Detectives is a completely different part of the United States, different story, whole new different cast of characters. I think it's a choice when they do anthology.
Yeah.
To have the same cast, not the same characters. That's an important distinction.
Yes.
Because most of the anthology is a different character altogether. So I wouldn't say all anthologies do that.
No. But it
seems like American Horror Story has kind of done that.
Yeah, and others have, like, you just kind of, I've seen it not only in that.
Yeah.
But also with anthologies, there's not just the horror ones. Black Mirror and American Horror Story are both horror-esque, or thriller. There's also, American Crime Story, the People vs. O.J. Simpson, that is an anthology series. The first one was about O.J. Simpson. Ironically, it's from the same guy that did American Horror Story. Yeah. So, and Sarah Paulson's in it too.
Oh, that's funny.
So, it's the same kind of idea. They're just doing different ones. I know they have a Hurricane Katrina story coming.
Yeah. So these are anthology.
It's an American Crime Story is the series.
Are they scripted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's gonna be this. The People versus O.J. Simpson wasn't a documentary. It was people playing those characters.
What's his face?
Cuba Gooding Jr. was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, that's right.
And stuff like that. So, but that's one trend.
Well, before we go on to the next one, this is just real quick. I wanted to say this at the beginning, but I didn't get it in. Anthology shows have gone on since before even TV, radio. They were known for anthology, different stories all the time. You know what I mean? Like under the same. I'm not gonna act like I know much, but I did read that there are radio shows that had anthology series, that type of thing. I'm sure they had a lot. I don't know. I didn't grow up in the radio era, so
we're not that old.
Yeah, true. We can move on to the next trend.
I also do want to mention one show that neither of us have watched, but I think we're both interested in it. Yeah. Fargo. It's a different.
Watch the movie.
I haven't seen the movie.
Movie's great.
But Fargo is another anthology series, and it's different stories. And I don't want to give it a genre, per se, because I don't know. But it's Coen Brothers.
It has elements of comedy while it's also a drama.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. That's what the movie was.
Yeah. So that's probably. I mean. Anyway, let's move on since we're getting into a show that we don't know much about.
Yeah, we don't.
And we don't want to act like we know a bunch. The next trend is one that blew up because of one specific show. This is a show that...
Z Nation. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
We don't talk about that Asylum copycat sci-fi show. We talked about The Walking Dead
Walking
here.
Dead. And hold on. Before, there's iZombie as well, which is another zombie show. And Z Nation.
But I won't... Z Nation and Walking Dead are kind of on par of what they're kind of about. iZombie's different, and I'll talk about iZombie
when we get into it.
But Walking Dead kind of brought zombies to...
The Walk Dead.
The Walk Dead.
I spelled Walk Dead.
I saw that.
Anyway.
Walking Dead kind of put zombies on the forefront of the map, and they are still there.
To television.
It still kind of brought them at the forefront of pop culture,
It sure revamped it.
Yeah.
Revamped the zombie genre as a whole. I mean, in movies, it's been popular in the past. Obviously, George A. Romero. Gosh dang it.
Rest in peace. He just died recently.
That's right. Died last year, didn't he?
No, it was like a month ago.
Oh, damn. Okay. Oops. Yeah, so anyway, the zombie trend has been around. It's been around for a long, long time. They didn't always call them zombies, but it has
Walking Dead doesn't call them zombies.
True. Call them Z Nation does. I had a guy tell me at Walmart that very adamant about how they call them zombies and how it's awesome and they blow in the face of The Walking Dead, even though...
It's The Walking Dead.
Z Nation is still on though. But anyway, man, we're going.
Yeah, I know we're going. I wanted you to tell that story because it was actually funny. Walking Dead, it's an interesting monster of a show.
Started in 2010.
Yeah, 2010. Mm-hmm. I remember you got me into it.
Did I?
Because I remember it was like the season 2 was coming on. It was like, I don't know about Walking Dead, and you were just like, oh hey, watch the show. I think you'll like it, and just like okay. And then I saw the first 6 episodes and just like, wow, this is incredible. Just bringing a human aspect to the zombie
more
genre.
Character.
More character. Yeah.
But it also, what we were saying was it kind of brought it into pop culture again. You know what I mean? Like it people started to like get zombie shelters. I'm sure they had before in the past. But it just seemed like, and it brought it to the forefront, like you said, in pop culture. Which is an interesting thing. But you could talk about iZombie and how it's different from those two.
Well, with The Walking Dead, there was... how many shows did you see on that list? Because you looked at the list, I didn't. Of how many zombie shows are there?
The big shows that I looked at...
Well, not just the big shows. How many...
Top 4?
No. How many were on that list? About?
There was a lot.
There's a lot.
List, but a lot of them were
old. Or just...
weren't popular. Like, at least I haven't heard about them.
So, probably about 10, 15?
Sure. The Last Ship is a zombie show that I didn't know it was a zombie show. That's what it had on the list. I don't know. I didn't expect that to be anything like that. Like, what do you mean, though? Like, what kind of...
Like,
of that list, I recognized 5 shows on that list. I didn't go all the way through it because a lot of the shows seemed like they were...
more loosely zombie.
Not even that. It's just like I had never even heard of them at all. And like I know, I don't know everything about.
What? Okay, zombies in television.
It was a Rolling Stones art. No one. You're fine. He's looking at lists of zombies.
I'm looking.
But here, I mean, this is part of the thing is that this was a trend. Zombies were a trend
for a little bit.
How many, and this is the problem we're having, is how many zombie shows that were big were produced. How many? Like, the only ones on that list that I recognize were 4. And those are the 4 we talked about. Walking Dead, Z Nation, iZombie, and then...
the Last Ship?
No.
Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead. And then the Last Ship was down further on the list.
And those are, I believe, are the only 4 on television right now.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Last Ship's still on or not.
No, I don't think it is. Walking Dead, obviously, is still going strong, going in the 8th season. I stopped watching it just because it became... It became too hyped up that... And this sounds like a cop-out, but it's... I just lost interest in it because they were just kind of going and just like it's the same thing every season. They find new groups of people.
I was getting to that point.
Yeah.
And, this past season and this new season, I mean, it's changed a little bit, and so I kind of like the way it's been going. So I like it. I'm getting to where I like it better now.
I mean,
I never stopped watching it, but I'm still 4 episodes behind from the last season. But it's the only show that I've ever followed on live television that I've actually kept up with. Besides the last 4 episodes.
that's part of my problem is that I can't keep up with it on live television. Not that I don't have it. It's more just like I don't have time because most of the time I'm doing work and stuff. And that's just my life and stuff. I don't have time to just stop what I'm doing, watch a show live. I'd rather catch it when I have
that's
time.
What's good about living in now is when we have DVRs, we have on demand, you have
Hulu.
You can go on Hulu, you can go on the AMC's.
Yep. Exactly, which is great. I just really lost interest in it. I found other shows that I found. One particular genre is coming up soon in our podcast, but I still watch iZombie though, because iZombie is a bit different. The main character of the show
How so?
Let me tell you, Larry.
Okay, go ahead.
The main character of the show is actually a zombie, so it's from the zombie point of view, but it's more... It's like... It's a drama comedy procedural kind of like. So this Liv Moore, she gets bitten, she becomes a zombie, and so she doesn't look like the undead like walkers of The Walking Dead. She's very pale. She has white hair, and stuff like that. She can go into a zombie mode, but that's for another time. But what happens in the show is she helps solve people crime by eating the brains of the victim. She's
interesting.
Yeah, no, she works in the morgue, so that's an easy way for her to still be a normal person while still being a zombie.
She's still on, right?
Yep.
When did it start? Do you know? Not sure.
I think 2011. Or are we on a third? I think we're on the 3rd or 4th season.
Have you kept up with that show, or are you still?
I'm a season behind, but it's all on Netflix, so I will catch it when I can.
Yeah.
But that season literally just stopped in June, so it's not like I'm not behind. It only comes on at certain points. But it's fun. It's not just it's funny. It's dramatic, and it's very interesting the way that they portray zombies. It's
dramedy.
It's a dramedy, and
which counts because it has the word drama in it.
And it's still more. And it's an hour long. It's not a half hour.
What network is it on?
CW.
CW, that's what I thought.
Which, speaking of which, let's talk.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
Don't jump ahead, Mr.
Alright.
Eager Pants. We're at 18 minutes. We got some time to kill.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going to talk about a trend that was very popular for about 15 years, maybe a little more.
Probably good 25.
We'll go 15 to 25.
15 to 25.
You know, give or take a few years. I'm sure you know of it. Crime dramas, procedurals, traditional crime dramas, I guess you can say. Shows like CSI, NCIS, and Bones come to mind. Bones and CSI are the two oldest of the three I mentioned. The two older ones. Bones started in 2005. CSI started in 2003.
When did that one start?
I'm not sure when NCIS started. I don't watch the show, so I wasn't going to delve too deep into it. The show of choice that I wanted to watch was Bones, and I watched that actually on Netflix. I watched all 10 seasons. I got caught up. Anyway, I think that they pretty much. There was a lot more examples. Elementary comes to mind as a procedural cop show.
Law and Order and
Law and Order. That was it's been probably the oldest. That should have been on the list. Law and Order is a crime. It's a
no. NCIS is older than Bones.
Is it?
2003.
See, that's why we have phones.
That's why we have phones.
It's true.
But yeah, Law and Order is the big. Law and Order is still on.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Well, SVU is on. Law and Order, the original show.
I think some shows, the only reason they're on is because they've been on for so long.
Yes. Oh, I agree. Which kind of leads into our question, can trends overstay their welcome?
I say hells yes they can.
Yes. the amount of procedural shows that were on at one...
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and also, not counting the, 50 million spin-offs of both CSI, NCIS, and Law & Order.
Yeah.
Legitimately, there was about 5 spin-offs of each show.
Yeah.
And they were all on.
Yep.
And there's still these procedural shows. Now we're leaning more into cop dramas, not procedural. We're leaning into more what the cops' lives are. Bones is
I liked Bones because
Bones is great.
It was different. It was still procedural. Do not get me wrong on that one, but it was different, I thought, than ones I had seen like CSI and those types of shows.
Yeah,
because I like that they went into that kind of science world, like that different. CSI did that sort of, but this was in anthropology, which was interesting.
I cared more about the Bones characters than I did the CSI characters.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is they focus more on the characters, and that's another show that's like this is Castle. I love Castle.
Oh yeah, I watched a little bit of that. I won't go too deep into it.
Yeah, I've seen about half of Castle, only because it's not on Netflix. Why is it not on Netflix?
Licensing issues.
I know, probably. It made zero sense, but I love Castle, mainly because Nathan Fillion's in it, but
he's a good actor.
He's great.
He's funny.
But Bones and Castle are two that those are kind of oh, they're so different. They're not just procedurals, they are procedurals.
But you know what, though?
What?
Bones, I loved Bones. But yeah. I think it overstayed its welcome. I think that it got to be where it was on for too long. It was on for 11 seasons, I believe. And around the 8th season, it got to where the cheesy moments were ultra cheesy, and I think not only can trends overstay their welcome, I think that the shows within those trends can definitely overstay their welcome. I think CSI is a big example of that.
Yeah.
Especially when they just kept trying to bring it, they kept trying to, they would show it around football.
Mm-hmm.
To try to get more viewers coming from the game, which I don't watch football, so I won't pretend like I know. But I feel like they tried to push CSI for so long, it just kept going, and now they have CSI. I don't know if this is still on. CSI Cyber's gone.
Yeah, CSI's gone.
CSI's gone. Is CSI?
No, CSI.
The whole
CSI is probably the biggest. Was one of the biggest shows of the
most well known.
The procedurals. It was big for a long time.
It was.
And it finally ended. It ended its run, I believe, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's officially they tried to bring new characters on to revive it. It just didn't work, and it's one of
even with Ted Danson.
Yeah, but Ted Danson is the one. It's a curse.
I like Ted Danson though.
I know, but Ted Danson is a curse. If they bring Ted Danson on the show, it's gonna be dead. Besides Cheers,
yeah.
I said
Becker.
Becker. Well, Becker was built. They were built around Ted Danson.
Yeah.
CSI wasn't.
Yeah. I don't think he killed CSI though. CSI was.
Well, it was basically dead by the time
because it overstayed its welcome. Yeah. I think that shows can do that.
Law and Order is
for some reason
it's still around. Well. SVU is still around, and that's because it's
Special
different.
Victims Unit.
But that also, I have a theory about this, and this is kind of going into just funny, and I'm kind of stealing a joke, but I don't care.
Do you know who said the joke?
I think it's Patton Oswalt. But he talked about the reason why SVU is still on is just so Ice-T can say the most ridiculous things.
Was it?
Ice-T was the rapper.
That wasn't John Mulaney, was it?
No, that was John Mulaney.
Yeah,
it was John Mulaney. Okay, yeah. Just for Ice-T to say the most ridiculous things, that is the reason why that show is still on.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I can't say I've seen it.
But it's the rapper Ice-T is a star of this show, and it's still what?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on because this is getting into ridiculousness.
But to answer that question, yes, they can definitely overstay their welcome. Any trend is vulnerable to that, I think.
Yes, and I think
if they do too much of it.
I think Zombies is getting to that point.
That's a good example. Yeah. The reason, Walking Dead's still popular, but it didn't really last. We're backtracking.
Anyway. We don't want to backtrack.
Let's move on to Ben's favorite trend, and I'll give him the reins. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We kind of talked about the CW with iZombie, or as Kevin Smith likes to call it, the DCW, because that network was built. Well, it wasn't built on the superhero shows because it was the WB network before, and it still had Supernatural and stuff like that. But it was built on genre television, and the big thing it's known for right now is the DC Universe shows, the Arrow.
In other words, DCW.
The DCW, the Flareoverse, as they like to call it, the Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl. Black Lightning is joining as well. They won't have a show on every night anymore. They're stopping doing that, but they have 5 different superhero shows at this point, but they're not the only ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mentioned some of the other.
Fox has Gotham. I haven't watched Gotham. I'm not going to. Well, I watched the first season. I'm just like, I don't like it.
My brother liked the first season.
Agents of Shield.
Obviously, ABC.
ABC.
Sister company to Disney.
Yeah, Disney.
Or not sister company. They own it.
Disney
owns ABC.
Disney owns
ABC. Sorry.
Can I talk?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Disney owns ABC, so they have the Marvel Universe, so they have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on there. Agent Carter was also on there.
The Defenders coming out.
Defenders is on Netflix with Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil. Punisher is coming as well. There's also shows. There's a new Warriors show coming on whatever ABC Family is called now. Freeform. Yep. There's also
stupid name, but go ahead.
Yeah. Cloak and Dagger, which is another Marvel show, and it's going to be a more teen drama superhero show coming on Freeform. The point being that superheroes are everywhere right now, and it's not going to stop. They're continuing in the movies, and they're going to continue on TV, and but the thing is, it's the opposite of the movies. DC has better shows than Marvel.
I have no horse in this race.
I do, because I watch most of them. Marvel has very mature shows, and they can do some stuff that they can't do, but Marvel has a lot more crappier shows, like the Inhumans coming out, which they're releasing in IMAX at the same...
Is that a well agreed upon opinion that they make bad or worse shows in DC, or is this just what's your take on it? I'm just curious, because I don't know. I don't watch any of the superhero shows. I only watch the movies, so... Yes, be angry with me.
I would probably say most people agree there's certain examples that rise above DC. Like, the Netflix shows, for the most part, are better than...
Those are the shows I think of when I think of that I haven't seen, but that I think of superhero shows, that good ones, is like Daredevil, The Punisher, which I haven't seen. I haven't seen any of these.
Well, Punisher's not out yet.
I'm not saying... What?
Punisher's not out yet.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, those are the kind of shows, I guess, on Netflix is what I think of.
Those are the ones that, besides Iron Fist and probably Defenders, which I've heard... I can't say anything bad about Defenders. I haven't watched it. Shame on me. I will watch it come September, which is very soon. But I watched Iron Fist, and Iron Fist was god-awful. One of the worst things Marvel ever put out. And that to me was just like... A lot of the time was...
Even worse than the first Hulk movie? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Iron Fist was bad. I like... And my friend Brian was like, oh, Iron Fist isn't that bad. And then he realized, like, no, Iron Fist is that bad. It's just such a white privilege. Is like, oh, he's a millionaire trying to get back his money and training to be a superhero. And just, like, such bad acting and cheesiness and just is bad. Which, not to say that Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, all 4 of them, they, of course, have their cheesy moments. But at the same time, they do...
You can call them quirky moments.
Quirky moments, yeah, because they're more quirky than cheesy. They have their storytelling right. there's certain criticisms of shows, like certain seasons aren't that good. The first season of Legends of Tomorrow, they barely made it to a second season, but that's okay because it got better. It got way better in the second season. Flash has had 3 good seasons, but they've also had 3 different speedster villains, so that's just, they need to work on that. Arrow, there's 2 crappy seasons and 3 good seasons, so good is beating the bad. That's all that matters, in my opinion. But the reason, and Supergirl has had 2 amazing seasons, in my opinion, but the reason why these superhero shows are, at least the reason DCW is working so well, is the crossover. All 4 of these shows cross over very well, and their actors jump around. They've actually introduced a new concept where a actor would sign a DC Universe contract, not a specific show contract, to where that they can appear on any of the 4 shows, which that's really cool in my opinion, and that they can do that.
To me, this is kind of an old argument, or kind of an old complaint. It furthers the it furthers the stupidity of not using the same actors for the movies in the DC universe. I know this is a different subject and it's been complained about, but like they don't have the same
Flash
actors.
They don't.
For example,
the big. They haven't introduced any of the characters in the show besides certain Flash characters.
But are they going to bring those? If they introduce any more, are they going to bring them to the movies, or is it all just going to be different? Because if the crossover works so well on the shows, you would think that they would carry it over to the movies. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, well, and I've had those arguments before because this saddens me. On the second episode of Flash ever was the day they announced the Flash movie with a different actor. To me, I feel like Warner Brothers did not have the faith in the Flash show that they casted another actor, which we've barely seen Flash on screen so far, and
he's so fast.
Take your slap.
No.
1,
no.
2, 3.
No. Owie. He didn't slap me.
Okay. Alright. I just made a noise.
Sure did.
Alright. But so far we've only seen Flash, the movie character, on screen probably 5 seconds so far.
I just think, to me, I think it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, it would be cool if they did. But anyway.
Well,
for the people who watch those shows, it'd be cool.
Yes, it would, and I would love for Green Arrow in the movies to be played by Stephen Amell, who plays him in the show. It would be amazing. I would love for Flash to be played by Grant Gustin, but the thing about it, these are not movie-level actors. The people they got are movie-level actors. These are TV people. And they work better on TV for some reason. I don't get it. I don't know what it is. There's a difference between the two, and in my opinion, there shouldn't be, but anyway.
Hold on, that brings up a good, this isn't on our list, but this brings up a good subject, is that,
yes.
When you were saying TV actors versus movie actors, going back to anthology, it's almost the perfect thing for movie actors, if you agree upon that, like that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson from True Detectives could do 1 season. They didn't have to sign a contract where they would be out for. I mean, they'd be in the show for 7 seasons.
Yeah. So
I think more movie actors are coming to TV. Like with the anthology, especially because you're not signing the whole decade away almost. You're signing for just a season. While you're in between movies or what.
Well,
so,
actually, American Horror Story is another example because and American Crime Story, because Cuba Gooding Jr. was a big movie star, and then they got him for both Horror Story and Crime Story. Kathy Bates, another huge star, went to American Horror Story.
It's funny because back in the day, if you had a TV show you couldn't go to movies. There was no way. And if you were a movie star that went to TV shows, that was the end of your career.
Yeah, and
it's funny how that is changing now, I think.
Yeah, and that's just the state of television that we're in. We're in more event-inspired series of, like, American Horror Story is an event series. American Crime Story is an event.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah.
It's not just Game of Thrones is an event. All these different shows are events. They're not just a season of a television show. But yeah, and it is a very interesting point, and which, to kind of finish off DCW is great. I agree. Like, the problem, my biggest complaint with it, I'll get back to the TV movie actors in a second, is that they're so interconnected you might not know what is going on unless you watch all 4 shows.
Yeah.
I'm an avid watcher of all 4 shows. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, back to the TV and movie actors. We are seeing that a lot more. We are seeing that.
Yeah.
Like, it's big, like Dolph Lundgren, who, if you don't know who that is, he was in Rocky IV. He's been in a bunch of movies. He was in the last season of Arrow.
Yep.
Like,
well, there you go. Exactly. So, it's just an interesting thing, and it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And even Defenders and stuff and those Marvel shows, like, I'm not just bringing up superhero shows, they're getting a big name. Like, Sigourney Weaver's the villain in Defenders.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just they're getting these bigger name actors like John Bernthal, who was Shane on Walking Dead. He's the Punisher.
Right, exactly.
So they're getting... It's because they're more event series. They're these, like, oh, I get a chance to play this interesting character.
And just the overall quality of all these new shows.
Yeah, and like, so much the TV and quality, honestly, like, probably in the last 5 years has jumped. Honestly, like, ever since Netflix kind of started.
5-10 years, maybe.
5-10 years.
When did, well, hold on. Yeah, we'll say about 10-15 years. How about that?
Yeah, because, well, look at, like, once HBO and Showtime started doing shows, like, with Sopranos and stuff like that, the quality...
They've always had pretty good quality, like The Wire and such. Like, those are really good shows.
What I mean is that...
Overall, like
the early 2000s, late 90s were when that really started. Those shows started. Yeah. So that's why we see these more bigger budgeted shows. That's why Game of Thrones is on now. That's why Mad Men was so successful. Breaking Bad, Walking Dead paid for those shows. Let me be honest there. AMC is successful because of Walking Dead. Walking Dead paid for those shows. Walking Dead and Breaking Bad.
Mad Men started AMC on that because that was their first.
Was Mad Men before Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mad Men started. Hold on, let me look because I want to be right. But actually, that's funny that you said that because I was going to ask you. This is also not on our list, but do you have any dramas that we haven't mentioned that you watch that you like? Any big ones? It doesn't have to be any of the trends.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
Trying to think of. Well, I'll go to some Netflix shows. Orange is the New Black, I think it's another more event type show. It's not like I will literally binge watch that in 3 days because that's how much. There's one that my friend, I've only seen the first season, but my friend has just praised it so much that I'm going to watch. That's probably my next show on my list is Orphan Black. Orphan Black just ended. If you have a chance to watch the show, it is one of the most addicting shows I have ever watched.
Mad Men started in 2007.
So yeah,
that's where AMC kind of shifted their programming. They did this
Breaking Bad was
series.
like a year later.
Yeah, Mad Men really started this whole. Well, at least with AMC, they really started that.
Yeah,
good quality.
Breaking Bad was a year after.
Yeah, and Mad Men's a good example of the opposite happening, where they found no-name people, mostly no-name people, and brought them to the forefront. Like John Hamm, he wasn't really well known before Mad Men, and that Mad Men really changed that for him. And he's a great actor; he deserves the attention he's gotten. But I'm just saying, like, there's that what we said about movie actors and things, but then there's also the other end where finding no names could potentially
be.
good. Is a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
because it's harder for big movie actors to like play through. Like I'm looking at Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, and that's the problem with that bringing movie actors, and you can sometimes only see that actor. Mm-hmm. You don't see, and that's the problem with some movies. That's the problem. Like if any Tom Cruise movies, oh hey, let's watch Tom Cruise be Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with movie actors going to TV. That's why you see it as the end of the career is like, oh, we just see that guy. We don't see whoever it is.
But I wanted to say the show that we've already mentioned, but one of my favorite shows is Mad Men that we haven't mentioned. It doesn't really fall on any of these. I love that show. I watched it just last year. Earlier this year. And I binge watched it on Netflix. God, I wish I would have watched it when it was on because it's such a good show. I'm gonna go back and watch it again. That's one of my favorite TV dramas, honestly, because it's so good.
I will be honest. I haven't seen Mad Men. I haven't seen Breaking Bad either, and I've been recommended both shows. I will watch them eventually. But I will give it to AMC. AMC is probably the king of dramas. Probably right.
They've had a lot of successful.
They've had a lot. And very critically praised dramas.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Is like Walking Dead isn't as critically praised as the other ones, but it still gets huge ratings. Yeah. Huge.
Well, I watched it. So.
Anyway, so we thought it would be cool to we looked at where TV dramas are going.
We talked about the new trends, the anthology, even though it's not a new trend. It's seeming like it's growing more again.
So we're gonna look at. What do we think are the next new trends? Aaron, I want to ask you, what is your trend?
I'm glad you asked, Ben. I'm glad you brought this up, buddy. I think, just with the two shows that have... One show is a reboot, or is it a reboot? Anyway, Star Trek and The Orville, which are both space shows. I think if Star Trek does well and if the Orville does well, I think that we'll be seeing a new trend coming up, and that is space shows. I think. I really have nothing beyond that. I just that's my feeling towards it. Is I think that might be the next new trend. Ben, what about you, bud?
Well, I want to mention.
Okay.
Sure. Orville is definitely more of a comedy, but I could
I
could see that more going the route of
Seth MacFarlane's show.
Yeah,
I should have.
I could see that going a more iZombie route. That it's probably an hour-long dramedy, but I don't know what Orville like if it's gonna be 30 minutes or if it's gonna be an hour. Who knows?
My guess.
Yeah.
Half hour, but I'm not sure. Go ahead and keep talking.
But my opinion, space shows, if Star Trek does well, yes, we are definitely going to see more space shows. Star Trek is the king of space shows. It will forever be. I'm still surprised we don't have a Star Wars live-action series, but their movies are doing pretty well, so they're kind of sitting pretty. My trend is one that I've already kind of mentioned, and that's American Crimes. And that's what I call true crime, and that is a show that focuses on one event, or focuses on real-life events that's like a crime or something, and there's obviously examples. Again, I mentioned American Crime Story, People vs. O.J. Simpson. There's a Hurricane Katrina one. That's not about... It's about an event in Hurricane Katrina, a crime. There was American Crime that was on ABC. There is actually a new Law & Order spinoff of Law & Order True Crime. That is a specific story. That's why I think that's so funny. Is like, oh, we just blasted Law & Order, and there's a new Law & Order spinoff.
The Orville's going to be an hour long. Sorry.
Hour long, so yes. So definitely Orville is probably going down the iZombie route of dramedy. And
my guess is it would be mostly comedy with drama elements.
Yes. Well, that's mostly what...
Well, dramedy, when you say dramedy, it's like, maybe you think of like an equal amount or a little bit more drama than comedy. I don't know. That's just what I think when you say it.
Yeah.
What do I know?
But true crime in general has just popped up in pop culture. People are obsessed with how people do crimes and investigating it and stuff like that.
And it's worth mentioning that both of these can be new trends alongside each other. And they
yes.
don't have to be. Because I agree with Ben that these docudramas seem like they're very popular.
Yes, and it's kind of like zombies. It just popped up, and it's at the forefront because of like stuff like Serial, Making a Murderer, stuff
and
like that.
Netflix has been kind of a big reason for that. I think
yeah,
produced a lot of those documentaries.
Keepers is another one on Netflix. I haven't watched these. I'm just mentioning examples of it that I know these are true crime shows.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, I think these shows are just. We're gonna hit a true crime overload before we hit a space show overload.
I agree.
But definitely these two trends will be right next to each other, and we're going to see more and more of probably both. If Star Trek is good,
if the stars align. Oh man. Okay. Oh, shoot.
You're an idiot.
Yep.
At least you agree.
Yeah.
So with that, I think that kind of ends our drama.
I think we've covered it pretty well.
Drama discussion. We've done our research. We know what we're talking about with these.
Back off, Jimmy.
Was it Jimmy?
Yeah. Jimmy.
Okay.
James Schmidt.
Which we appreciate you as a fan. Thank you for the feedback.
You should hear him.
Well, I don't want him to stop.
He won't stop. He's
okay. All right. Fine. With that.
Oh wait a minute.
What?
Speaking of fans, remember how we were going to mention the number of shout out for fans, right? Bonnie Mounts.
Oh, Bonnie, yes.
Keep doing it because she keeps sharing our stuff and just keeps. She keeps sharing all the posts and things, and we really appreciate her. Did you read her comment? I don't know if you.
I think I did.
Yeah, she was really happy that we gave her a shout out, and she deserves it because
she does.
She really helps this channel. So I appreciate it, Bonnie. Thank you.
And another one, James Schmidt. As much as we are blasting him for giving us a criticism, he gave us a positive one, and
well, he listened to it.
And he listened to it, so we know he listened to it. Anyway, with that, anything more, Aaron? What are we missing?
Well,
I feel like we're
seems like
something.
we've tended to go. At the end of each episode, we give a little squeeze a tease, which I just coined the term, squeeze a tease.
Well, I'll give a little tease.
Squeeze a tease? Say it, squeeze a tease.
No.
Alright, go ahead. Squeeze a tease.
But our next one has something to do with an actor of immense talent.
Squeeze a tease.
Stop saying it.
Alright, go ahead.
And he's very famous for being very crazy on screen. The one and only Nicolas Cage. You know, the A, B, C, the crazy Cage of not the bees.
You're better than him.
Well, I am?
I'm just kidding. We're about on the same level.
Okay.
But that's way
fair.
more than you.
That's fair. But, which is a shame. But we're going to talk about this. It's not a trend.
It's not a trend.
It's not a trend at all.
It's always been.
It's bad movies. Bad movies, and we're going to pick on Nicolas Cage a lot, because...
Well, he is. I'll probably pick on someone else, but...
yeah, that's fine. I love Nicolas Cage, but he's a bad actor.
And when you say bad movies, we're going to get into discussion. We're going to separate the two of is it a bad movie if it's made a lot of money, which isn't necessarily true. We'll get into that, though.
We will.
That's called the squeeze a tease.
I'm not saying
Aaron and Ben.
I'm not saying it. So for NerdCast, this is Ben freaking Dotson.
This is Aaron Michael Freaking Little.
You always have to one up me.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
That's what I do. Ow. Ben, that's not necessary. When have I ever slapped you in the face?
Right now.
Yes. Ew, it touched your mouth. Anyway, thank you guys for clicking, and thank you guys for listening. Make sure that if you like this podcast, give it a like down below. Ben?
Give us any comments, feedback, anything that we can do better, because we're not perfect.
And if you want Ben to read your comments, go ahead and do it on Facebook. But,
yeah.
That's what you said last time.
Yeah, read it on Facebook.
I will see your YouTube comments, of course, but... and I'm actually thinking about maybe starting NerdCast on SoundCloud.
Oh, cool.
See how that goes.
More stuff, please listen.
Thank you guys for clicking, like I already said. Man, I repeat myself all the time.
It's fine.
Stay saucy, as I like to say.
Stay classy, San Diego.
No, your thing was stay.
Oh, stay nerdy.
Stay classy.
Stay nerdy. Bye.
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 Just click stop.
Oh, still going. You thought you hit stop, but you did not.